Here we are. Hey everybody, I'm John Raffis, and this is David Vonderhaar. Welcome to Treyarch Studios and our very first Periscope broadcast.
What could possibly go wrong?
Absolutely nothing, David. Absolutely nothing. All right, hey, listen. Today, first full day of the beta, and we opened it up a little early. There's a lot of work that goes into it, right?
Yeah, so a lot of things have to go into making a beta, certainly one of this scale. Two very important things, really, for us. There's a lot of people involved in a beta, not just the developers, so it's actually very important for us to stress test all of our process and procedures and pipelines across the entire organization. That's us at Treyarch, it's our friends at Activision and Activision support, getting that sort of all worked out, blowing off all the dust, making sure we're in good shape.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that you guys, like you and the team, need to get out of it. I mean, this is the first beta that the studio's done since World at War, right? And first game on next gen. Need to make sure things work the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, so as a first game on this new generation of hardware, you know, for Treyarch, not having done a beta since World at War, very important for us to get the game out there in the hands of real people. The simple truth is that there's 260 plus of us, but there are hundreds of thousands of you guys, and you will see things and do things and experience the game in ways that we never will, even though we play it every single day. And that's what the beta is really good at. It's really good at making sure we find all the things that we haven't seen yet and really letting that experience come right into the studio directly.
Well, I mean, but it also seems like, you know, you've gone to E3, Gamescom, like you spent a lot of time talking about the game.
Yeah, me and you both, as well as other people in the studio, have spent a lot of time sort of trying to make sure everybody understands the landscape of the game, talking about the core movement systems, talking about the specialists, sort of prepping everybody. But truly, and we felt this way since, for probably a year now, that the best way to understand all of those words that we talk about is to just give the game to people and let people play it, which is why we took it to E3 and let people play it, why we took it to Gamescom and let people play it, and why they're playing in a beta right now, so you can just play it, because when you play it, you truly understand what we're trying to do with it.
Well, let's talk about what people are playing right now, okay? So right now, we've got 3 maps that are available. We've got Hunted, Combine, Evac. If you could, start with Hunted and give us the lay of the land. What are players in store for? How should they approach this?
Yeah, so I want to talk about Hunted sort of as a way for us to let people understand how water plays inside of this game. So, we talked about water as being an important part of the core movement, and swimming as being an important part of the core movement. And Hunted actually has the waterfall, and it has this whole lane that happens sort of underneath. So it really lets players experience what we've been talking about with swimming and its importance to the game in terms of path navigation and flanking and what kinds of things happen there. It's a fun Hunted facility, like where you might go on safari in order to sort of set up, and it's a pretty big map, long lanes on either side, and it's really one of the longer, bigger maps in the game.
Well, how does the action switch up with a map like Combine?
Yeah, so Combine is really probably the fastest paced map that we have inside the game. It's actually got real tight chokes, got the long wall run on one side, more traditional flank on the other that cuts through, sort of big dangerous zone in the center, where the B flags are, for example. So that is by far the fan favorite map right now, simply because of how fast and furious it is. Fans love Fast and Furious. Hi, Michelle. Fans love a really fast-paced map, and that map sort of gives you an idea about what kinds of things you can do with that sort of tight environment.
Well, whenever you're talking about speed, I'm sure that there's plenty of commentary for Evac.
Yeah, so Evac, I want to tell fans a quick story about Evac. So Evac, for the longest time, is what we call MP_apartment. So all maps have these development names before they get real names. So Evac is this example of sort of a zone, a quarantine zone that's been evacuated. That's what you see, all the spray paint and sort of the dilapidation and overgrowth that's happening inside of that area. That particular map, I think, is one of my personal favorites for objective-based game modes. So anything that you like to play objective ways, from an objective point of view, plays fairly well in that map, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to include it.
All right. Well, so I think people coming into a beta understand that, like, a beta represents a mere fraction of what's available on day one. But that being said, I mean, even with 3 maps, I mean, you guys are throwing in 7 modes of play.
Yes, 7 game modes. All the fan favorite game modes, of course, sort of the ones that have the highest population or the best ways to have a beta. So it starts with Team Deathmatch, of course, is inside the beta. We've also got Domination, of course, that's a fan favorite map, but we also included Demolition. So no one's played Demolition before the beta. You know, we haven't seen Demolition since our last game. That was something the fans asked for, something that we put back, something we put in the beta so you can see how it plays inside of Black Ops 3. On top of that, you know, there's Capture the Flag and Search and Destroy. So all the kind of expected modes are in the beta right now.
Well, all right. So I mean, you got 3 modes or 3 maps, 7 modes of play, but this is the first time that people like are really starting to dig into the specialists, right? So I mean, this is a new layer of fiction in multiplayer. Let's kind of walk through each one and kind of give people an idea of what's in store. Let's start with Ruin.
Yeah. So recapping sort of the specialists, they are that you have to pick a specialist. They are mutually exclusive choices. They each have a power weapon or an ability that you have to pick. Ruin is the sort of archetypal Call of Duty specialist with his gravity spikes, which you slam into the ground, or Overdrive, the ability that lets him speed burst.
And what about Prophet?
So Prophet is the one I'm playing right now in the beta the most. Prophet's got 2 really cool things. So Prophet has Tempest. Tempest is a lightning gun that chains to other people. I'm seeing some really cool plays with Tempest right now. Seeing some really cool videos of Tempest. And he also has Glitch. So Glitch is the ability where he sets a time origin and he can sort of backtrack about 5 seconds into the past depending on his location. So he can sort of get out of a danger zone real fast.
Next up, Battery.
Yeah, Battery, played by my friend Morla. Hi Morla, I hope you're watching. Battery has never been playable until the beta, so this is really exciting for us. So we took a lot of new things to E3 and Gamescom, of course, but the demo has some things that no one's played until you got your hands on the beta. Excuse me. So the beta itself's got Battery. Battery has 2 very important things. The weapon is the War Machine. It's like a pineapple grenade launcher, shoots 3 that's spread out and split and detonate on impact, as well as the kinetic armor. Gives you just a little bit of extra absorption from damage, except from the head.
Seraph.
Yeah, so Seraph, so tough. Seraph has been my favorite up till now. What I love about Seraph is the ability to combat focus. So if you're a street player like me, so you know you're going to get on an objective, good time to activate combat focus, helps you sort of earn towards score streaks, and also has the Annihilator, the big hand cannon that shoots through people.
Nomad.
Yeah, so Nomad has 2 very important things. Rejack, that sort of brings him back from the brink of death, and the Hive, which is a weapon that you use for setting traps on people.
Would you like to be armed with Rejack right now?
Right now, for sure.
All right, last but not least, this is actually the one I'm playing with most, Outrider.
Yeah, so let's make no mistake, Outrider is definitely the fan favorite right now. We think it has a lot to do with the Sparrow, and you know, seen some really cool 5-piece plays with the Sparrow, some really great videos being made. And then I love Sparrow for Search and Destroy and the Vision Pulse ability. It sort of pings through the world so you can find enemies. Really good on 2-on-1 situations, and had some clutch moments with that a little earlier today.
Just so you know, I was the guy on the receiving end of that 5-piece play. So, yeah. What can you do?
YouTube famous.
The wrong kind of famous. All right, so, you know, really from a development perspective, feedback is key. It's a really big deal. But there are a couple different ways that fans can provide feedback. Let's talk through a few. Yeah, so let me itemize a couple of the core places we've asked people to go to give feedback. So there's actually an official way to give feedback. And if you go to the Treyarch.com right now, there's a link in the top right called blog. Click on blog, you'll see the Day One blog. In the Day One blog, you'll actually see the link that you use to submit sort of official feedback through a survey. So we encourage everybody who's playing in the beta to at least do that one time through the official channels. There's also all sorts of unofficial channels. Of course, Twitter is a big thing for us. In fact, we're running a feed right now of the Call of Duty and the Treyarch up on the monitors so everybody in the building kind of see in real time what people are saying. Yeah. We also have official forums on callofduty.com, and we have our unofficial Reddit, which a lot of developers are really paying attention to /r/Black Ops 3. That's sort of the unofficial Reddit that's officially where we're all hanging out. And CallOfDuty.com support is a good place to go if you're running into any issues out of the gate. Kind of a good first stop to see if you can get your questions answered.
You know, every morning we talk to those guys and make sure that we have all the right information to put in people's hands directly. It's support.activision.com. Right there on the page, you're going to see a big FAQ which explains how to get and redeem tokens and codes, you know, if you're having trouble installing. So this is a very important place if you're having any kind of technical problem accessing the beta.
But for you, where you give feedback is just the first step. There's also the matter of like how you give feedback.
So this is super important to us as developers. So it's, you know, where you give feedback where you feel comfortable giving feedback. It's not that important compared to how you give it. So how do you give good feedback? So we are game developers, which means we like to solve problems. As game developers who solve problems, it's very important when you're giving a suggestion or giving an idea that you contextualize what you're trying to say with the problem you're trying to solve. Now, let me use a practical example of something that happened on Twitter. A guy on Twitter sent me a note. He said, "I'd like the Tempest gun to glow more." And what he was really saying was, I would like better identification when an enemy has a hero specialist weapon equipped. That's what he was really saying. He wanted to know and be sure so he could stay away from that fight and make sure he doesn't get caught up in that chain attack. Well, out of context, if I just said to you, I want the Tempest to glow, what I might hear is, oh, it's cool, and it'd be cool if it glowed more, right? But what he's really trying to do is solve an actual problem there, which is he needs better identification. So always contextualize. Give your suggestion, but tell me what problem you're trying to solve, and then tell me why. Then give me the suggestion, the hint, the feedback. That really helps us because there's lots of ways to solve problems. Maybe you make it glow. Maybe you make it sound different. There's all sorts of ways to solve problems, and we need to understand the problem you're trying to solve with your feedback.
But all of this, I mean, this isn't just like a whole bunch of lip service. I mean, the reality is like you guys have started fixing stuff already.
Yeah, this has been pretty sweet. So even this morning I watched this happen. So one of the developers in the building was watching a live stream. He noticed something that was clearly wrong with the overlay that happens in a score streak. He took a screenshot from the actual live stream, sent it out to the appropriate alias internally, and about 5 minutes later there was a check-in for that fix. So there's things that are happening in real time as people discover issues. Now, let's be clear, not everything is super easy to fix, but we are paying attention. We are making real-time adjustments to the game. We are making real-time fixes for the long term, and that's just one of many types of examples that's happening.
Yeah, do you have an example for the Razorback?
Yeah, okay. All right, so this one's important. Well, we had an intervention with the combat designer last night. We sat him down and we said we need to talk about the Razorback. So we'll be talking about the Razorback maybe in another Periscope.
All right. One of the things that has come up is talking about level caps. Yeah. So what's up, Vaughn?
Yeah,
you raising that?
Yeah, you're raising the level cap, Vaughn. So listen, I hear you. You want the level cap raised. So we actually have, this is pretty fantastic, real-time data about how many people are actually the max level. So if you listen to Twitter, you would think everybody's reached the level cap, and that's just simply not true. So we are raising the level cap. We will probably raise the level cap in a couple of days. We are waiting for some more people to catch up, make sure there's enough people kind of up there, and then we'll bring the level cap up.
Are you inferring that everything on Twitter is not true?
Most things on Twitter are true, especially the Periscope version.
All right, last but not least, what's the most important thing for beta players right now?
Yeah, so it's a beta. Let's play some video games. Let's have some fun. Send some constructive feedback. Help us get the game into the best possible position it can be in for our launch on November 6th. Have fun. That's what's the most important.
All right. Do you think we're going to have another Periscope broadcast?
I think after we're done here, we're going to find out real fast.
we're gonna find some feedback in our inboxes for sure. All right. Well, with that, that concludes our first Periscope broadcast. Jump on the beta. Go have fun. Send us your feedback, and maybe, just maybe, see you back here again real soon. Take it easy.